Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to showcase my reptiles eating because I know you guys love to see that, but I also was like, what do I do for like the background noise? And this background noise, you can hear Jackson going in the background because he just had a treat downstairs. But I wanted to have a bit of like a casual answering your questions while my reptiles are eating on screen because I thought, why not? So here my reptiles are eating mealworms. I'm only showing them eating a couple mealworms each clip because this video would be like 300 years long if I showed all of my reptiles eating the actual amount of mealworms that they eat. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions, which I pulled from my community tab over on YouTube. I will also have a video where I feed my pets black soldier fly larvae, and I'm going to be answering questions from Instagram. So just make sure I got everybody. I have 2 separate videos. So first up, we have a question. Have you noticed that your leopard geckos act differently when someone other than you is around or tries to interact with them? I've noticed my boy is much more reserved when I have guests over. I have not noticed that, but to be honest, my reptiles aren't usually around guests. Like all of my nocturnal and crepuscular reptiles, with the exception of one, are in the pet room or my bedroom, so they don't really see other people that often. The only reptiles that are going to be exposed to like house guests would be my bearded dragons, my uromastyx, and my blue-tongued skink. And my uromastyx and blue-tongued skink are hiding a lot of the time anyway, so no, I don't notice this, but maybe if I had them like around other people more often, they would. Someone else asked, how are you doing? I know you've been through a lot lately. I hope things are looking up for you. Let us know. I want to say I really appreciate this and also the people who liked this question as well. I love that you guys are looking out for me. In total transparency, I'm not great, but I'm not horrible. I'm kind of just in this middle zone where like some days I have really good days and some days I have really bad days. And I know that like it'll pass with time, so that's just kind of the thing that's keeping me going. Plus having, interactions with online community and, hanging out with my animals, that helps too. But yeah, thanks for asking. I'm doing okay. Third question, do you ever feed mealworms to your leopard geckos? Why should you only feed them as a treat? So for me personally, I don't feed mealworms that often because it just takes a long time because I have to hand feed a lot of my geckos and mealworms are really small. So like my special needs geckos have a hard time catching them. And then in order to feed enough to be a meal, it's going to take like a long time. It's like extra strenuous, I think that a varied diet is best and a varied diet would include things like mealworms. So I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing to offer. However, I know that a lot of people don't use them as a staple, and I also know people who do use them as a staple. Really, it's going to be up to you. I have a video about mealworms coming out that will actually feature a lot of this footage, and it goes into their nutrition breakdown and everything like that. So just keep your eyes peeled for that video. When it comes out, it'll be soon. But yeah, they would be too challenging for me to feed all of the time. Someone asked, if you weren't focused on reptiles, what other animal would you keep? So outside of keeping reptiles, I have kept rats, I've kept amphibians, I've kept fish. I had fish. Fish was a lot of work. Definitely not something that I would like to get back into. And keeping rats, I kept them longer than I kept reptiles, well, until recently. But I loved keeping rats, and it was just really painful to have to experience their deaths after such a short amount of time. And I was having a lot of anxiety based on looking out for signs of illness and trying to make sure I was really on top of my game when it came to my last 3 rats specifically, because I've got one of them with pneumonia. When I first got it, it had pneumonia. So it was just too much, I think, stress for me personally. But I loved keeping rats. So if I were to have to pick something other than reptiles, it'd probably be rats if I can't pick amphibians, because I have amphibians right now. Someone said, I may be overstepping, but honestly, I would love if you talked about your makeup, hair care while feeding the babies. You always have such a clean, natural look, and I would love tips. Thank you so much. This is actually super sweet of you and not overstepping at all. I have a second channel that I post random content on. I'll post crystal unboxings, hair dyeing videos. I'll do all kinds of stuff over there. I've talked about Phantom of the Opera and different movies and stuff. I talk about all kinds of things over there. And one of the things that I do is hair and makeup. So if you're interested in that sort of content, I will leave a link for my second channel down below. But yeah, I had never thought about talking about makeup while voicing over reptile content, because I feel maybe most people wouldn't like it. But yeah, maybe one day. How long did it take you to start making income from YouTube? How often did you post to get to that point? Did you have a big break video that spiked your subscriber count, or was it more of gradual growth? I can make an entire video about this question alone. I feel like YouTube, for some people, they have monumental success within a year or two. And for some people, it can take, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years to really start to be able to live off of their YouTube income. I have not had anything go like viral that gave me a bunch of subscribers or anything. I had one video in 2018 that, maybe it was 2019 actually, 2019, that got like 50,000 views in a week, which was like crazy for me, but that was a video about Rago. And I gained some subscribers, but nothing that really contributed to like, incredible growth or anything. And then I had 2 videos that did pretty well in December of last year that gave me a nice amount of subscribers and views. But again, nothing that, is kind of like a monumental success overnight type of thing. YouTube for me is very, very much slow and steady wins the race. Like consistency, trying new things. And I used to post like at least once a week or twice a week. And there's even sometimes where I've posted 3 times a week, and it really hasn't made any difference, which is unfortunate. I wish I could give people tips about YouTube. Again, I could probably talk about it at length in a video, but it's just, YouTube is challenging. I love YouTube, but I also struggle with it because unless you're making really clickbait, sensationalist type of content, the growth that you have is going to take time. As far as income is concerned, I monetized my channel in the end of 2017 because I realized I had over 1,000 subscribers and I had like a few videos that had like 30,000, 18,000, 50,000 views. And I was like, oh, I should probably capitalize on this. And YouTube for me, I never went into it with the intention of it being a job. I just was posting videos there because Instagram didn't allow you to post long videos. So I was like trying to find a place I could put all this longer content, like answering care tips or showcasing all of my animals in one video. So I just posted there and then left. I never read the comments. I never looked at how many subscribers I had. And one day I went to post again and I just took a look at it and I was like, I have over 1,000 subs and I have like a decent amount of views on some of these videos. I was like, I should probably just, monetize this. And then I started taking YouTube seriously in the beginning of 2018, posting every week. And I made income that whole time. Like there's never been a time where I haven't made income, but when I first started out, I was under that $100 a month threshold. So like, you have to make $100 in a month in order for YouTube to pay you. They're not going to pay out like $7 of income. So yeah, it's been a long growth. Let's just put it that way. A long, steady growth. And I'm grateful for it. I don't mean to sound ungrateful by any means, but I know I'm impatient and I know that I have the ability to be bigger and make more money and have more views and yada yada, but I'm just not there yet. I haven't cracked the code, so to speak. I haven't been discovered by the algorithm, so to speak. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Again, I could probably talk about this at length in like a whole video. Hey Jessica, what are good calcium to phosphorus ratios and what are the best feeders for leopard geckos with good calcium to phosphorus ratio and best tree frog feeders with calcium to phosphorus ratios? Thank you for all that you do for us and all the extremely important information you give. Lots of love from Tennessee. Thank you so much for this question and also for the love. This is a challenge because like each feeder insect that you offer provides something a bit different. And like my go-to answer for what has the best calcium to phosphorus ratio is going to be hornworms, earthworms, and black soldier fly larvae. But those feeders are not good across the board for everything. Like, for example, we don't feed earthworms to leopard geckos. We don't feed black soldier fly larvae to amphibians. Hornworms are great, but they don't have enough protein, so they can't be a staple. So the best thing you can do really is to offer a varied diet. Now, I have a few videos that break down the nutrition facts, including the phosphorus to calcium ratio of multiple insects, and I will include that playlist down below for you. But just keep in mind that there is no like one best feeder. The best feeder is having as many in your arsenal as possible, having as many to choose from, making sure that you're gut loading and dusting the ones that need it, and, just giving a super well-rounded diet to your animal. Do you sometimes think you're putting more into making videos than getting out of it in terms of income or satisfaction? For example, when a video doesn't get many views. Yeah, that taking it back to YouTube, yeah, it can be really frustrating. I think a lot of people who are not self-sustaining from YouTube, they put a lot of effort in for very little reward. You know, you're working for free, essentially, for a long time before YouTube pays off. Now, I don't necessarily mind that aspect of it. I really love doing YouTube, even if it has, like, its cons. You know, everything has its cons, but I love doing YouTube. I love making videos. I love interacting with you guys. I love talking about my animals. I love being able to have my own creative liberties and be able to do my own thing on my channel. Like, I love that so much. And I believe in myself and in the ability for this channel to be successful in the long term. Not that it's not successful now, because, you know, success has many different definitions, but for it to be something that is financially beneficial. Like right now, I make a decent amount of money on YouTube, enough to cover all my bills and feed my animals and stuff. But it's not something that is, you know, good where I'm at right now. Like, I'd love for it to be bigger. I'd love for it to make more. And so ideally, it goes in that direction. And, you know, I think perhaps putting out content when it is in that direction would be even more rewarding. So it's not that it's not rewarding now. I just think that, yeah, it's unfortunate to, you know, put a lot of love into something and sometimes feel like, you know, this one didn't really hit the mark, or I'm not really making that much money off of this. Am I really doing the right thing with my time? You know, a lot of YouTubers, I feel like, have those type of feelings, especially in the beginning. What sort of foods do you feed your feeder insects? I love to feed them like nutritious vegetables. I'll feed them like the greens my bearded dragons get, like a lot of the stems and like hard bits that my bearded dragons don't eat. They'll get carrots, they'll get squash, they'll get broccoli, they'll get bell pepper. They'll get all kinds of like food scraps that are nutritious vegetables. And sometimes if I have fruits like an orange or a banana peel, they'll get that. What's the weirdest thing you've seen an animal do? Good question. That's really, I've seen a lot of weird things. I posted a video today of my chubby frog Chocho climbing up the glass and then hanging by one toe from the screen top. So that's pretty weird. I also love when my leopard geckos scratch their head with their back foot. My bearded dragons do that sometimes too, and I think that that's hilarious. What's your dream reptile that you want next? I don't really have one specific. I will include a video where I talk about some reptiles that I want down below. But a legless lizard is definitely on that list. But yeah, there's a few, but I'm not really in a place to be getting any animals right now. So it'd be a while before I get one. Can you do a video on cleaning leopard geckos' tanks? I could. I just personally find cleaning videos so boring, so I've never done one. And I also find them challenging to record, but I can make like an educational video about it, sure. Have you ever eaten one of your reptiles' shed? If so, how's it taste? If not, can you? The answer is no and no. That's not going to happen. Please tell us the materials you used in your White's tree frog enclosure / if it's possible, link them. So I have a video all about my White's tree frogs enclosure currently, like the current build they have now. I also have some previous builds as well. I will leave a link for that down below, and everything that's in that enclosure in that video is still currently in their enclosure now. Someone asked, how am I doing now? I'm having a bit of anxiety, although it's like subsiding now. I had to take my gecko Obella to the vet this morning for what I suspected was follicle stasis, but we're not diagnosing her with that yet. It looks like she has some ovarian follicles beginning to develop, but they're not in stasis, like they're not stuck there. So it'll just be a matter of time to see if she decides to develop them into full eggs or if she resorbs them into her body. But yeah, she just scared me. You know, it's the exact same month that Asha died 3 years ago. So I'm having a bit of like flashbacks and really bad anxiety when it comes to Obella, because she's my only female African fat-tailed gecko. So to have my only female African fat-tailed gecko have issues when the last one I had died from follicle stasis, it just brought back a lot of like unhappy, anxious feelings for me. So that's how I'm doing right now. I went to the vet with her this morning, just got back a couple hours ago. Prognosis is fine. It's not follicle stasis, but it was very stressful. It's been a stressful couple of days. But I posted about that on Instagram and Twitter. If you don't follow me on there, you miss out on like updates like that. So I definitely recommend following me there. But yeah, I'll continue to update about her situation on there. Do you plan on getting any new animals you haven't owned in the past? Would you ever do any breeding projects? As for breeding projects, that's going to be a no, but I do plan on getting animals I haven't had in the past in the future. Like, I'm not in a place right now where I want to be getting any new animals. However, I am definitely open to keeping different species that I don't currently have in the future. And as for breeding projects, I'm just not a breeder. It's not my thing. No diss to anybody who does breed. It's just not for me. Not really on topic, but can you possibly do a video on ways people can rehome or donate animals they can no longer keep? With biases in the reptile community and pending laws, it's on us to be responsible owners. I haven't seen any other creator cover this. Thank you for considering. Yes, I will absolutely. I loved this idea. It's not something I had even thought about before. Like, I've discussed how to safely navigate Craigslist, but not as someone who was rehoming. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to script and do a little bit of, planning for, but yeah, I definitely want to cover this, so thank you for the idea. And the last question from my YouTube community post is, can I have a shout out, which is from Impasta or Impasta. I don't know why I'm thinking Impasta, like it's imposter but with an accent. Impasta is probably what it's supposed to be. But yes, you can have a shout out. Here it is. I hope you're having a great day. And with that, that's the end of the video. We're going to finish it off with Cho-Cho nomming down some mealworms. As a special little note, I do not feed mealworms to my amphibians that often. I don't actually feed them to my reptiles that often either. But I figured I'd say that just in case anybody's like, what? Why are you feeding your frog mealworms? It's not a regular thing, so please do not worry. But I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this, I don't know, at least a little bit interesting. Let me know if you like this video, and if so, I will do more content like this. But thanks for watching. Bye!